This meeting is being recorded.
There you go. Okay, so the date is the 21st of October 2022. It's getting close to Halloween and soon be Christmas. We've got two great teams, ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment delights today. To having been away last week and having a few days off, coming back and getting a group like this. Thank you, Lord. What an absolute pleasure you've been. You're in for a delight. The first team up is Nigel's team, and Nigel, I will only start the recording when I hear your dulcet tones. Good luck, my friends. You really deserve this.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you could make it this morning and you all got here nice and safely. I hope you're looking forward to hearing and seeing the presentation as much as we are to deliver it to you this morning. This morning, we're going to show you how we will plan and control the construction of the 6 new brick and block built luxury homes that will complete the Bramley Close development. I'm Nigel Lewis, I'm project lead, and I've been involved in construction now for well over 40 years, of which the last 16 have been purely house building. So you're in good, safe hands. Man DC Construction has been trading for 52 years. We were formed in 1970, and we're extremely proud of our fantastic health and safety track record. And all that time, we've had no fatalities and only 3 RIDDORs. So we may intend to maintain that track record on your project and stick to all our health and safety policies that enable us to do that. To this end, we've put together a well-balanced and experienced site team. We have Martin Franklin, who is our site manager, along with AJ, another one of our site managers. We have David Absalom, who is our health and safety advisor, who helps us on all our health and safety issues and matters. And we have Chris Bardsley, who is our site supervisor and will be responsible for the day-to-day activities on site. So without further ado, we'll move into the presentation and Chris will explain the site plan to you. But could I just kindly ask that if you do have any questions, note them down in the question and answer section at the end, and we'll gladly answer any questions they may have. So over to you, Chris, who will explain the site plan and location.
Morning, guys. Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through the site plan and the location of the cabins, the storage requirements, and then I'll move into the traffic management plan. So as you can see, we've got a site there. It's going to be surrounded by footed and double clipped terrace fencing with echo barriers all the way around. The area in green is to be stoned and compacted for the duration of works to give us a safe and clean working area. We're going to have 2 vehicle access gates, one at the east end of site on Bramley Close and one on the Greenfield access. The contractor parking is across the school road in the factory car park. Now, this has been agreed with the factory and the retail premises for the duration of the job. We're operating a reverse parking only policy. According to the health and safety executive, almost a quarter of fatal accidents are caused by a reversing vehicle. The pedestrian access is via biometric gates next to the Greenfield access, as you can see on the plan. The services provided on site, we're going to have mains, electric, water and drainage all directly onto site for the duration of the works. We've estimated at the peak we're going to have 30 contractors on site. We've got the appropriate number of welfare cabins, but there'll be more information on that in the welfare plan later on. The welfare and offices are located in the northwest corner of the site, and the reason for that is it's near to the main services. It gives a clear route for pedestrians and it gives a good view of the whole site. The unloading bays are next to the site hall road, and that's to be detailed in the traffic management plan. Also, the skips are located next to the hall road. The storage requirement, day-to-day materials on site are going to be unloaded as close to the work site as possible. Due to the proximity of the factory and the school site, we're going to have a policy of deliveries are only to take place between the hours of 9 and 3. Any materials susceptible to weather damage are to be covered and checked daily. Materials to be placed on pallets where possible for ease of movement. Materials are to be delivered in advance of the next 2 houses only to avoid overfilling the laydown areas. The only exception to this is the roof trusses, which will be delivered as close to possible to the installation for each house. We're going to have a cosh storage area, which will be locked and secured. The area is to be bunded and spill kits are to be situated nearby. Any spills are to be reported immediately to the site manager. So I'm just going to switch now onto the traffic management plan. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
That's fine, Chris.
Yep.
Okay. As you can see, the vehicle and the pedestrian areas are segregated by the red barriers. The pedestrian green access will allow people to get to the welfare and the offices from the biometric entrance in a green zone. And then the pedestrian PP areas where you will have full PP on to the work site and the material laydown areas. We've got a site speed limit of 5 miles an hour, and we're going to use a one-way system for deliveries, which you can see there. They enter at Bramley Close and they come through the gate on the east side, right the way through the site, and then exit on the Greenfield entrance. Due to the tight nature of site, materials are to be delivered by HIAB and static vehicles only, so we're going to have no articulated lorries. We're going to unload as close to the work site as possible, depending which house we're on. We're going to have an electric telehandler on site, which is only to be used in vehicle areas, and we can have an electric excavator in the work area only, which operatives are to observe the red zones. Any spoil we're going to take away from excavations will be loaded straight onto wagons and taken away from site. The cranes for the roof trusses are to be set up on the haul road and cordoned off in accordance with the lifting risk assessment and the lift plan. And all monitoring of activities to be done by the site manager and supervisors. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Chris. In-depth overview of the initial plan there. I'm going to hand over to Martin now, who will run you through the site security systems and the emergency arrangements. Martin.
Can you all see that?
Yep.
Right. Hang on a second. There we go. Right, site security. On the screen currently is the map where we've overlaid the positions of where the hydrants and the CCTV units, mobile alarm and fire extinguishers and the CCTVs. I'm going to mention an armadillo stroke Dalek in a minute for those of you that don't know what they are. That's it. Okay, so here at Man DC, we take security on our sites very seriously, not only to stop items being vulnerable people from getting in and harming themselves. So in place, I think Chris has already mentioned, we have an 8-foot Harris fencing around the perimeter of the site. Every panel will be double clipped from the inside with the gates at either end. These gates will be chained and padlocked at the end of each shift. During the day, we will have a gatekeeper who will be responsible for all incoming and outgoing deliveries. At night, we will have security lighting and CCTV. We will also have the mobile perimeter intruder detection system, that's Daleks or armadillos to you and me, which will be monitored remotely and linked to the duty manager at all time. Now, at the entrance and exit to the site, there will be a biometric site to allow workers easy access and egress after they've done the site induction. Now, the biometric system will be linked to our system, which will enable us to monitor activity and produce monthly reports for you, the client. These reports will include a variety of things, including worker credentials, number of man hours on site, as well as other things, including accidents or incidents. And should this all fail, we will have to go back to the old-fashioned system of signing in and out on our visitors book. Second. Fire plan. No, not going on to that one yet. So emergency procedure and arrangements. Here at Man DC Construction, we believe that all staff, visitors and all users are essential to our success, and we will do everything we can to protect their safety. We classify accidents into 3 levels or 3 tiers. Tier 1 is a minor accident that can be dealt with on site and recorded in the accident book as necessary. On this site, we have 2 first aiders. Please note the first aid station is in the site office and the first aiders are AJ and David. Tier 2 is a serious accident that requires taking to hospital. In this case, we have a system whereby we would take the injured person to the nearest accident and emergency hospital, and the nearest one here is Bidu A&E on Carl Douglas Lane, or if you, the postcode being BR1 to LY, or if you use what 3 words, Kung Fu Fighting. Tier 3 is a major accident. This is where the injured person cannot be moved. In this case, the entrance and unloading area would be cleared, the immediate work area cleared of people and equipment, the gate would be monitored so that the ambulance, when it arrived, would have immediate access. And in the unfortunate event that an air ambulance is required, we have already spoken to the farmer about landing in his field. Fire plan. Initially, there is nothing on site apart from the offices, welfare block and compound. So we would be reviewing the plan as we ramp up construction. As part of our control system, fire risk assessments have been done for the offices, welfare cabin and the compound. And this will all be explained as construction develops. Fire hydrants are located on Bramble Road by the bus stop and at the end of Bramble Close by the footpath end. And on this site, we will be only using foam and dry powder for the extinguishers. Phase 1, office, welfare cabin and compound would have an alarm point and extinguisher. Phase 2, this would increase to include the offices, welfare cabin, compound plus 2 mobile units in close proximity to the construction. We only envisage having 2 mobile units as it is a relatively small build. Fire plan. If you see a fire, raise the alarm, or if the fire alarm sounds, you must stop what you are doing and without collecting any belongings, go to the muster point, which is in the car park and is clearly signed. Do not return until you're told to do so by a fire marshal. On this site, the fire marshals are myself and Chris, and all communications with the fire authority will go through Nigel. Not only do we have an accident emergency plan for accidents and fire, but there are also quite a lot of other things we have to take into consideration. A few examples of other emergencies that should be planned for at a construction site include the following: chemical spill, fires, floods, hurricanes, explosions, electrocution, power loss, medical injuries, poisoning, toxic gas releases, structural failures, and a few others. And as we say, being organised is the key to success.
Okay, lovely. Thank you there, Martin. And I'm sure you'll agree, quite a comprehensive document there that we produced, and that will get reviewed and amended as required throughout the project. We're now going to explain to you our mental health policy, and AJ will take us through this. Over to you, AJ, please.
Thanks, Nigel. Here at Mandate, we take mental health very serious and are aware of the challenges facing the construction industry, especially. Uche Jindu, being myself, will be on site for the duration of the build as a trained mental health aider to support any workers who need support. We will also run a mandatory attendance mental health awareness course, where we will inform all workers of education and training towards mental health in line with the new training procedures. We aim to prevent before crisis than post-breakdown. Findings show that despite recent improvements, as an industry, we still have some way to go. However, the report also identifies increasing understanding of awareness and problems faced within the industry. Uses such as Tideaway, Mind Builders, and Wellbeing Indexes will be used to ensure the mental health and safety for all workers. Lastly, CITB's contact number for the mental health line will be shown by the site office and main entrance for people seeking anonymous help.
Okay, thank you, AJ. Again, something we'll constantly review and develop during the construction phase of the project. Just going to hand over to Dave now. He's just going to quickly talk to us about safe systems of work.
Morning all. We've delivered our first safe system of work, which is currently with you for your review. This is for the use of agency workers towards the end of the project.
Okay, thanks, Dave. And you can see that's us being proactive. We're not actually on site yet. We have all our registered safe systems of work, risk assessments required, and we started developing them. But that one's particularly important because it's not a contractor as such, it's agency labour that we'll be bringing in. I'm going to hand that back to AJ again now, who's going to talk us through the welfare arrangements and the site signage.
All right, cool. We believe it's incredibly, we believe it's incredibly important that everyone who worked for Mandate Construction feels valued and comfortable. We strive and credit our clean facilities. Therefore, we've included an exhaustive list for everything we need. We have toilet facilities available for separate genders, 3 flushing urinals, 4 male lockable cubicles, 3 sinks deep enough to wash your hands, forearm, and face that will use a push button tap for water retention for environmental reasons. A shower room and wet clothes drying area will also be provided. Women toilets are also available. 1 separate lockable toilet for women. A disabled toilet will also be provided with ramps for easy access. A changing facility will also be provided with personal lockable lockers for the belongings so that out of work clothes are not contaminated with their work clothes. Rest facilities will also be provided with shelter from wind and rain. 5 tables will be provided, all being able to fit 4 chairs with high back, which will result in 20 units of space for resting. This welfare facility will have heating, 1 sink, 2 microwaves, 2 kettles, and 1 fridge. The rest facilities will have a disability ramp for easy access. Drinking water will also be available in the form of water bowls. A complimentary smoking area will also be provided opposite the welfare area with shelter from rain. This will have no walls for ventilation, so it coincides with the regulations of smoking at work. All welfare facilities will be cleaned, maintained, and replenished on a daily basis. A first aid center will be located by the site office. This will have an eye wash station and all other basic health care equipment, such as bandages, tissues, and plasters. The site office will also have a fridge, kettle, sink, and microwave.
Lovely, thank you there, AJ. And if you just carry on and explain to everybody the site signage procedure.
Yeah. Thank you, Nige. Cool. So we're going to have a variety of signs that we're going to use around the site for visual aid for workers to be prompted on site rules, health and safety regulations, and mental health. We find it very important that new people to the site know the core members of the team. As you walk through the site entrance, you'll see a meet the team board, which will present workers and visitors, so workers and visitors can familiarize themselves with all senior members of the team. A green and red zone will be presented and labeled. In the green zone, PPE is not mandatory and no health risk will be present. Clear indications will be set showing when PPE will be needed and what PPE will be needed. This will be after leaving the welfare changing areas en route to the main site construction ground. A COSH warning will be outside the COSH store, and a site safety form will be by the site office and around the site. A speed limit sign of 5 miles per hour will be present on all roads in the site and a one-way system. This will allow delivery drivers to follow and maintain our safe system of work. A construction vehicle traffic sign will be near the entrance of the site for public traffic knowledge. An F10 form will be filled out and present in front of the site office and the site notice board. A first aid sign will be outside the site office for eye wash and basic healthcare. A warning construction sign in progress sign will be used by the entrance of the site for public knowledge. And a public liability insurance and health and safety at work poster will be present on the site notice board.
Okay, lovely. Thanks, AJ. We're also a member of the Considered Contractors scheme. So once we receive the pack from them, there'll also be the Considered Constructors signage, which will be displayed prominently at the main entrance to the site and strategically around the hoarding, the perimeter of the project. We're just waiting to receive that back, and that will go up. Right, thank you, AJ. Dave is now going to run us through the site rules and the induction procedure. So over to you, please, Dave.
Morning all. Oh, hold on, sorry. Knew something was wrong. Oh, sorry, I've lost my things. Anyway. As you can see, we've generated site rules which appear around the site. I won't go through the exhaustive rules, but a few of them are critical. Always sign in and out of site. We operate a log in, log out policy. Keep noise levels to a minimum. We are close to a school and residential properties. It's in our interest to minimize noise, not just to avoid complaints, but for our health and our well-being. First aid box, defib, sharps box, and eye wash are located in the site office. Hopefully you won't need them, but good to know their location. Use designated skips. Separate your waste into the correctly marked skips, example, plasterboards only. Never block fire routes. Fire routes are to be free from all obstructions at all times, no exceptions. The speed limit for the site and Bramley Lane is 5 miles per hour. The site deliveries are to be coordinated between 9 AM and 3 PM. A banksman will be made available to all delivery drivers, and drivers must not proceed onto our site until a banksman has been allocated to you. I will try and get
Dave, just take a second, mate. Just see if you can share your screen. It's no panic. We're in a friendly environment. Just see if you can share your screen. Show we've got the work prepared.
Trying to find it all up.
Just share your screen. And you should have your stuff in that box.
What it is, I've just loaded up that XR, whatever it is.
We're moving into induction now, Dave. Can you? We do have a list of site rules ready prepared. Can you get the induction information up, Dave?
2 seconds.
Basically, as health and safety advisor Dave will be on site, and he'll be conducting the inductions. We have a set form that Dave's just trying to locate now, which he'll run through. And
I'm sorry, I've lost the slide completely. The inductions will be held in the site meeting room on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 AM. The meetings will be led by the health and safety coordinator and will take approximately 1 hour. A competence check will take place. The main content of the induction will be site specific and contain a tour of the site explaining the locations of offices, welfare, first aid, parking, smoking. I will explain the emergency drills and tests, which are fire alarms and tests, fire drills, evacuation procedures, assembly points, fire escape routes, and call points. There will be a section explaining pedestrian routes, traffic routes, and no-go areas. I will explain in detail our security arrangements and our log-in, log-out policy. I will explain in detail our communication chain, and I will explain our policy on drug and alcohol testing, PPE, clean as you go, individual requirements. As with any inductions, I will ask a few questions to make sure the delivery was getting through. Everyone will then sign the induction register. We also, as good practice, we have a poster of 20 do's and don'ts, which will be situated around the site.
Okay, lovely. Thanks for that, Dave. Yeah, Dave mentioned the 20 do's and don'ts there. They're something that we've developed alongside the considered contractors. It's basically a tick list of 20 items, what you must do and why, and then across the red section why you wouldn't do it. Very effective, and we used it on the last 5 or 6 projects now. Right, I'm now going to run you through our document control system, which basically have a white file system which we adopt on every single one of our sites. This enables us, in the case where somebody has to leave site, a manager has to leave site for some unknown reason, another manager can quite easily take over that site seamlessly, because all the information is stored in the same place. So it's almost foolproof as much as we can be. As you're fully aware, there's plenty of paperwork required for everything we do on a site, and to this end, this is our control system. So our filing system basically is file 1, which is the pre-construction phase information. And I must say, gentlemen, I need to thank you for supplying us with such thorough and in-depth information in the file. It's made our work a lot easier, our job a lot easier in putting our plans together. So thank you very much for that. File 2 is our construction phase plan. I will find all the information, logistic plans, etc., and all the information that we need to comply with the regulations. File 3 is our health, safety and environmental emergency procedures plan. This one has a red binder, so it's very easily identifiable. Should there be an incident or occurrence on site, very quickly we can pick that file out, refresh ourselves if we need to react to that situation. So that one's got a red binder on it. File 4 contains all our cost information. This is our cost risk assessments, data sheets, product information, and also the cost register itself, because we keep a register, a numbered register of the materials and substances on site. File 5 is our temporary works file. This will contain the temporary works register, the nominated temporary works coordinator and temporary works supervisor, and then will contain the design information and rating and material information, etc., for each temporary works design. File 6, not that we should probably need any on this particular job. File 6 contains all the induction information that Dave gathers, along with the CPCS or CSGS card attached to the signed induction form, and the biometrics record and number. So it's very easy to obtain the information for a particular individual from the biometrics and from this file. We also keep all the toolbox talks in this file. We do ask every contractor to do at least one toolbox talk every week. This is registered into this file. We can quite quickly see if we have a particular contractor who's not fulfilling his duties, and we can have a word with those. File 7, this is where we have our health and safety file for particular contractors. So we'll have 7A, 7B, etc. And this will contain the contractor information, the RAMs, risk assessment method statements, any correspondence, any drawings that have been produced by them, just a general sort of file for each particular contractor, so we can quite easily find information from those. File 8 is our safety file. This has the records of all our weekly inspections, so excavations, scaffolds, plant, all those weekly inspections, perimeter fencing, welfare, all those inspections will be in this file. There'll also be the minutes of the monthly safety meetings, which we have with all the SSS's, but we do have weekly tours where we take photos, discuss the site conditions, minute those, and the minutes of those meetings will be in there as well. And finally, all the signed off completed permits will be in this file. So any permits been issued for working at height, permit to dig, etc., you'll find in this file. But it's quite a comprehensive filing system, quite easy to use. However, things are developing in the industry, and we as a company now are introducing the software onto a tablet, which will eventually capture 60 to 70% of what's contained in the files. And this is backed up at head office for purpose of record keeping. This will also allow managers who are off-site in head office to be able to monitor and see what's actually happening on the site at any given time. And it also will help the managers on site because they can actually take the tablet out onto site, do the inspections at the point, take photos added to the inspections, gives us a lot more flexibility rather than the rigidity of a piece of paper once a week on a Monday or a Friday. We can do the inspections, take photos anytime. And it also becomes a very auditable piece of equipment. So it makes auditing of the project very easy. So that's our file. So it's quite comprehensive. We will be introducing the software and hopefully using it throughout the latter course of this project. I'm sure you'll be quite. Hand you over to Martin, who's going to take you through the permissions and notices we've applied for the project.
Thanks for that. I'll quickly run through some of them because I'm acutely aware of the time. So among some of the notifications and permissions we have arranged for, we have been in contact with and notified building control. We have notified the HSE with the F10 form. We've also been in touch with the council so we can get permission to repair the broken section of the footpath and then hand it back over to them once we've done that. We've also been in contact with another department in the council to organise the postcodes. Apparently they have to do this in conjunction with the Royal Mail. That's how it works. We've also been in contact with the local emergency services. We've let them know where we are and how long we're likely to be here. We've been in touch with the local DNO for the electricity supply, the GT for the gas connection, and we've been in touch with the local water authority, SLP, to get the water waste, all services connected. And we've told them how long we're going to be here, when we'd like it to start, and they've agreed this. We've also informed some of the properties around the site, but Nigel will elaborate on this, and I thank you for your time. Nigel.
Well, thank you very much for that, Martin. Right. I mentioned we're party to the considered constructors, so we're obviously very aware of our conscious surroundings and neighbours. So we've already visited the school and agreed to go in and do a health and safety presentation to them, light-hearted, done it many times before. Do a presentation, get the kids to do a drawing, picture of what we've talked about, usually a bit of plant or equipment. We go back a few days later, pick them up, judge and mark them and give out a top 3 prize. Gone down really well. So that's something we've agreed to do. We also noticed a bit of dilapidation around the playground area. So we'll be going back and offering to do some repairs and some maintenance work, FOC for them, to put that back up to scratch for the children. We've been to the factory and the farm just to let them know that we'll be starting work in November 22. We'll be busy around their entrances in the morning. We're aware that the factory starts at 8 and the school at 9, hence the hours of time. But I've given them my contact information, email and phone number, so that they can get hold of me should they have any issues. We've also done a letter drop to the local houses just around Bramley Close. Again, just letting them know we start in November, duration of the project, what the first items of work will be. And again, my contact details, should they have any issues, they can ring me, email me. I can either go and visit them or bring them over to site. And as we haven't touched on it, but we do have an environmental plan, part of the HSNE, very apt for this job. It has been developed. We've got the trees, we've got the pond. They'll all be fenced off and protected and not contaminated. And we have the open course across the road, which could lead us to flooding if we have severe weather conditions. That concludes our presentation. If you have any questions and answers, we will gladly take them from you now, please. Thank you very much.
But before we do, what is traditional at this point is to give that a blooming round of applause. Right, great timings there, guys. Great timings. Let me just write that in there before I lose it. Okay, so I get no involvement here other than to say, could we now, as Nigel said, invite the first question, please?
As a client, I'll start off. Nigel, thank you very much for that very, very thorough presentation. Question for you. Obviously, could you throw the map back up on the screen if you don't mind?
You can put the map up, Chris, please.
Yep. Which one?
The main site map. Okay, so yeah, just looking at it, you've got Harris fencing opposite the school. How are we going to control dust measures, and is that the most suitable type of boundary? Obviously, with inquisitive children.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's 8-foot Harris fencing. It's double clips, and we've got echo barriers all the way around, so they can't see into it. It's going to protect.
Okay, you've got echo barriers. I never.
Yeah, echo barriers all the way around site.
Yeah, that just so you know, Jess there. Yeah, good question. Thank you for that. We've also got that. It's on all of it, so that will actually protect the pond, dust entry. You know, we're obviously aware of the pond and not contaminating the pond, so we've got that around the trees and the pond as well. So it does encapsulate everything to try and reduce the nuisance from dust.
Okay, perfect. And just another question while I got you there. You've got a one-way system on the site.
Yeah.
Is there enough room on the site for a one-way system?
Yeah, it's this is why we've stuck to rigid vehicles and no Arctics. We appreciate the fact it is tight, but it is a normal street width. So we're fine with the normal size vehicles to come round in one direction on a controlled manner.
Okay.
We do appreciate it's very tight off school road, and the frequency of visitors to each of the adjacent properties to have Arctics sat on the road outside trying to get in. So it should just really be a normal turn of a rigid vehicle or smaller into Bramley Close, and then round through the housing and into the new plot.
Yeah, the one-way system is for delivery vehicles. Obviously, we're going to have a telehandler on site, and that's going to stick onto the road. But that obviously won't be going one way because that needs to move materials about.
Okay, and parking on site for the trades.
Parking's across the road.
Okay, so that is part of the site. I just wasn't sure. Sorry.
Yeah, so we've agreed parking with the factory. It's directly opposite the biometric turnstile. So literally they park up and all they've got to do is cross one road and they're into the biometrics and they're into site and into the welfare. That cuts down nuisance from, you know, lots of people being in a new area. It's the shortest route, safest route. We've got to rely on adults to be able to cross the road. You know, we can all should hopefully be able to safely cross the road. We did look at having it up by the public footpath. That felt, you know, we'd have workers walking past the existing houses at sort of 7:30 in the morning, probably causing a bit of a nuisance. So we agreed with parking with the factory.
So this pond, how does that work with the road then? Because obviously I can see the fencing around it. But
Well,
obviously,
the pond's already been adapted in a previous
right,
phase.
okay,
That section that's now within the construction of the road, that's
yeah.
all been reduced. That's all been reduced back.
So the pond's been
already
reduced
within
in
the
size,
fence line.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, the road construction is basically complete.
Oh, excellent, gotcha. I haven't read the project plan, obviously.
No,
to
no,
that
it's fine.
extent, so-
That's a fair enough question. Yeah, but yeah, that's all been completed in the previous phase. So we're basically up to tarmac level on the roads, which is why it's easy to run around tired vehicles rather than putting any plant on there, which is why we have the offload bit in the grey on this particular one. Sorry, on the other one.
Was there any? Sorry to interrupt. Was there any specific requirements with the build? Are they timber frame, or was that not been specified yet?
No. This one, it's been a mixture on the site. This one's brick and block, traditional brick and block build. There is other timber frame properties on the actual whole Bramley Close development, but these are the brick and block luxury 5 or 6 properties.
Gotcha. And there's no fire concerns or risk with storage of materials on site?
No, not really. It's quite open. It's not greenfield, but obviously we are coring it. 6 houses, you know, it's pretty much an open plan until we start building the houses. We will consider whether we need to put a 5-point in a property. Maybe not. Our train of thought is to put 2, sort of a third and 2/3 down of the 6 houses as they're getting developed. So that there is a 5-point for the 3 houses and 3 houses. But at the early stages, there's not really much combustible material on site at all.
Just one last question as well about the spread of muck and dust and stuff from the site as the lorries come in and out. Have you got any provisions in place so we don't get any calls from the council or the public about mud on the road and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll let Chris take this one, so I'm not hogging the limelight.
Yeah, the reason we chose the one-way system was, so we're going to be on the tarmac road for the entrance, and then if you can see my mouse, this is the only bit that isn't tarmac, hence why we're gonna stone and compact it. Yeah. So we're not envisioning to have much mud, and because when we're going to excavate, it's going to go straight into the back of the lorry. And that's going to go straight out. So the lorries aren't actually driving through any dirty areas like they are on most sites. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's obviously a major concern with complaints with mud being dragged onto the road and all the way up. So I think, well, that's pretty much covered the questions that I have. I'll give it over to someone else for a minute.
Anybody else got any more questions for us?
I've got a question. Would you be able to give me another example of how you're going to be implementing some considerate construction measures?
We've also going over to the farm, noticed that a bit down his track it's all potholed and you know, a bit unsafe and underfoot. So we're going to go and offer to do a bit of repair on the farmer's track. We'll also notice the footpath is in a poor condition where we're going to put our site office. So what we're proposing to do there is actually repair that footpath before we put our offices in place, because logistically it makes it much easier. We can divert the footpath into where our site would be. We can then fence all that area off and repair that footpath up, and then open that back up to the public before we even really start the works on site and put our accommodation in. So we'll be going into the school to do work. We'll be doing the health and safety presentation in the school. We'll be doing work on the farmers. We'll be doing work on the footpath. And during the course of the project, when we get into summer, I've done this many a time, it works really well. We'll offer like an open afternoon to the local occupants of the housing next to the site and do a bit of a tea party, a meet and greet, and show them what we're doing, what we're up to, and what it's all about, and what it is that's sort of disturbing them for the 6 months, the 8 months that we're there. So there are things that we've got in mind at the moment. I'm sure we may come up with more.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
And guys, that's time. Let's give it a final round of applause. Well done. Great questions, boys. Great questions. Oh man, I wish we'd got a little bit longer for some more questions. The quality of those questions. Joe, where did you pull that one from? Brilliant question, Jess. Brilliant question. Right, let me stop recording.